what is the normal situation when somebody who is applying for asylum in this country is convicted of a sexual offence or indeed any offence?
Well, if the offence is for more than 1 year in prison or 12 months, a custodial sentence, then it's automatic deportation. If it's less than that, then it's down to the Home Office's discretion whether they still want to deport that person or not. Usually they don't. They can do, and some people will argue that they should do. In any event, that offence will always reflect on their record, and it can be, or maybe should, be used in order to prevent that person from being granted asylum. And every time he has to apply again, that offence will appear. So that's the usual thing. As long as asylum has been refused, then usually, and previously, in the previous government, definitely, they were removed pretty much quickly after the decision to refuse asylum would be made.
And how often is it acceptable that when somebody's plea for asylum has been refused, they get to wait and wait and wait and then ask again and then be refused again and then wait and wait and then be refused again? What is the point of being refused if you get to appeal and stay and stay and stay?
Well, it's not about necessarily appealing after you've been refused. In this case, there was a delay and the applicant was allowed to make an application a few years down the line. It's all stems from the failure to remove. Now, under this government, the removal rate has been, in every graph, it's been spiraling down to only a few thousands, during COVID. And even before that, the enforced removals were really at a low rate compared to what they were in 2009 and 2010 when this government took over, when the previous government was in charge. The reasons for the lack of removals is still unknown, and the government just don't own it. They just make any excuses to say that, oh no, they avoided us. But the fact was that removals were previously happening. The fact that the Home Office is broken, and we know that because there was another report yesterday that was released in relation to care visas, which told us that the Home Office is broken and they don't really know what they're doing in relation to the care sector. And they've been granting visas to businesses that are non-existent. There are businesses that only had 4 employees. There was a case yesterday where it had granted 1,200 visas, where it previously had 4 employees. And out of their investigations and care visa visits that the Home Office have gone to see, 20% have been found to be non-genuine. So that shows us the state of the Home Office, the failure to carry out simple policies, the failure to remove. Now, the failure to remove has been a serious problem. And that's why net migration partly has gone up, because 50,000 people coming in is not a problem if you're sending 60,000 back, as they were under previous governments. However, when you're sending 2,000 or 3,000 enforced removals back a year, then you can't sustain them levels. And this is definitely a big problem. The lack of removal, no government Home Secretary has come on to told us, no government official, MP has come on to tell us on any TGO radio session why the removal rate was so low. Instead, they're looking at each other and pointing fingers.
Let's set out the stall, Harjap, and explain about conversion to Christianity and why it very well might be that so many would-be asylum seekers suddenly find the Lord, and the Lord happens to be Jesus Christ. Now, that is happening more and more and more. We know about aboard the Bibi Stockholm, there are 40 asylum seekers all claiming to have found Jesus. We know, in fact, I know somebody who runs a kind of hostel for asylum seekers, and not only are they provided with doctors and dentists, but they're all, and many people not provided with doctors and dentists in the general population, but they're also provided with priests to facilitate these conversions to Christianity, because so many of them, by some strange miracle of the Lord, want to convert all at the same time. Now, what is going on? Explain why an asylum seeker might entirely insincerely claim that he or she, usually he, is a follower of Jesus and a Christian, and what that means if they are.
Well, first of all, let's look at the figures. These cases aren't in the thousands. In fact, when a tribunal figures were released about how many cases they dealt with in relation to Muslims or anyone converting into Christianity, it turned out to be about 30, and it had only granted around about half of them, and the other half have been refused. So the figures aren't that huge. Now, why someone would claim to be a different religion or a conversion It's because of the rules of what asylum says. Asylum says that you cannot go back to your country and you need international protection because the government of your home country has failed to protect you from being persecuted on the basis of your race, your ethnicity, your sexual orientation, your religion, or any other reason. So that's what asylum says. So,
but hang on, but Harjap, I just need a bit more explanation. So imagine that you were a Muslim in this country, an asylum seeker. You said that you had converted to Christianity, and the judge found, well, we don't really believe you, actually. We think it's a bit of an opportunistic, pragmatic conversion. We don't believe you really think it or feel it. In fact, we asked you what was in the Old Testament. You told us Jesus Christ. We asked you to sing one line of any hymn of your choice. You couldn't. We asked you for the third line of the Bible. You didn't know it. You don't seem to be much of a Christian to us. So we send you back. I'm assuming that when you get back, you just revert to Islam instantly so you don't get persecuted. You don't have to go wearing a T-shirt saying, I am a Christian convert, why don't you kill me? I'm imagining that you, on the plane home, you have another epiphany of the soul and remember that you're actually a Muslim and your Islam is at your very heart and soul and you're under no risk or danger whatsoever because you're no longer a convert to Christianity. That didn't work out, so now you're a Muslim again when you go home, aren't you?
Well, what happens is inevitably people will try and cheat the system. This isn't a new phenomenon. This has happened for ages, and some people too try to do it. And they try, and some people are successful in it. However, the vast majority don't, and the vast majority aren't. Now, if I was a Muslim and I thought, right, okay, if I convert to Christianity, I can then claim that I'll be converted, I'll be persecuted when I go back. It depends what country I come from. A lot of Muslim countries have churches and they allow Christians to live there in peace. In fact, Dubai being one of them. So, there are countries in which Christians can live peacefully alongside Muslims, or non-Muslims. In India is another country where that happens. However, if I come from a country where I know Christians are being persecuted, and I try to take advantage for that, it's up to the Home Office to see whether I'm a genuine Christian or not. And it's up to then, if I get refused, the judges to determine that. And then if the judge says no, then it's up to the Home Office to remove me to my country, regardless of what I claim to be, because a finding has already been made.